Black Widow is a fictional character in the comics published by Marvel Comics. To be precise, it's created by editor and plotter Stan Lee, screenwriter Don Rico, and artist Don Heck. The character made its debut in Tales of Suspense number 52, April 1964. She was introduced as a Russian spy, whose character is an adversary of superhero Iron Man. She later went into exile in the United States and represented the fictitious espionage agency S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers, who are members of the superhero team. So, welcome back to Evo Chronicles, where we showcase the evolution of movies, video games, and characters. And in this video, we'll be discussing the evolution of Black Widow in movies and TV series. After more than a decade of fiercely intersecting stories and vast accumulation, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has closed the chapter on the most famous heroes in the release of The Avengers Endgame. The characters have appeared in various forms of media, such as animated television series, video games, and movies. Scarlett Johansson has released several Marvel Cinematic Universe films, including Iron Man 2, 2010, Avengers, 2012, Captain America Winter Soldier, 2014, Avengers Age of Ultron, 2015, Captain America Civil War, 2016, Avengers Infinity War, 2018, Captain Marvel's Cameo, 2019, Avengers Endgame, 2019, and Black Widow, 2021. The Black Widow's first appearances were as a recurring, non-costumed Russian spy antagonist in the feature Iron Man, beginning in Tales of Suspense number 52 in April 1964. Whether the overall conclusions about the various long-awaited character arcs will please enthusiasts continues to be debated online. However, finding the closure of all 6 members of the Avengers original is denied to be an ambiguous business, given those who didn't always have enough screen time to explore their origins. Tracking things like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and to some extent the Hulk from their roots to the Endgame feels more or less fulfilling because of their more elaborate and devoted individual stories. But what about the rest of the group? Permanent side characters like Hawkeye and Black Widow? Undoubtedly, it was a rocky road for both Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff and Jeremy Renner's Clint Burton. The former has always conducted a much larger spotlight than the latter. The fact that Black Widow is included in many of MCU's largest arcs proves this. In addition, she undoubtedly stood out as the only woman of the 6 originals of the era, when Marvel's female expression was absolute trash. Therefore, Black Widow is a high-stakes character. And Endgame directors Joe and Anthony Russo have a great responsibility to make her journey ultimately suitable for someone who is groundbreaking. To know if the film is doing its job, you need to dig deeper into her past in Romanov and track her from her first day. Romanov begins her tenure with a mixed bag of MCU movies. In Iron Man 2, after Pepper Potts is promoted to CEO of Stark Industries, she meets her as Natalie Rushman, who has been hired as Tony Stark's new personal assistant. Soon, her first appearance involves an unpleasant sexual scenario involving her future boss searching her photo as a lingerie model. When Stark and his fellow Happy Hogan try to put her in the boxing ring, there's a pretty ridiculous bend. Ultimately, they are completely amazed at Romanov's professional skills in one-on-one combat. Iron Man 2 does a lot to establish Black Widow as a master seducer. This can undermine her actual identity as an authorized super spy. For example, Romanov replays a sultry image while listening to her when he observes Stark pondering his death during her birthday party. Long after, Romanov was still exposed to the eerie male gaze, even after she was revealed to be a capable agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She is improperly watched while switching to Happy's car on her way to infiltrate the headquarters of Stark's rival company. Thankfully, when Black Widow defeats a series of bad guys on his own, he witnesses her skill. The acuity she shows in the scene also carries her for most of her remaining tenure at Marvel. Despite unnecessarily focusing on her appearance through her MCU debut, Romanov has repeatedly proved that she has proxy rights in her actions. She is responsible for the sensuality of a man dismissing her, and is a completely brutal assassin when needed. Black Widow then appears in the Avengers in a more robust arc with a properly mysterious, ghostly past. She continues to arm her femininity as a tool of her trade, but we know the deal so far. Her sharpness and predisposition to violence should be feared. In addition, Romanov develops emotions in the Avengers as her loyalty is tested and demonstrated. This makes her one of the most important characters in the movie. Black Widow is the only person who can sneak up on trickster Loki and extract valuable information about his grand plan to unleash the then out-of-control Hulk on the team's helicopter. When confronting the brainwashed Hawkeye, friends, colleagues, and perhaps something more, Romanov's pledge to save him mixes with her own beliefs about the debt she owes to him. Black Widow has traditionally played a feminine role in the Avengers by acting as a source of emotional support for some male characters. Nonetheless, she is backed by the practicality, courage, and wit of her fellow Avengers anyway. Romanov has not infiltrated the superpowers of another world, and is not equipped with many Stark-class techniques and weapons. Anyway, she gets a serious hero stripe when she fights her teeth and claws to protect the people of New York during the Chitauri invasion. Captain America, Winter Soldier, Romanov continues to work with S.H.I.E.L.D. and is partnered with Captain America on a variety of missions. Their friendship grows visibly as she helps Steve Rogers in navigating her modern life. However, Romanov has an excellent arc to follow in The Winter Soldier, rather than simply assuming the role of a male Avenger's personal therapist. She needs to scrutinize her various loyalties to get to the root of who she is. Eventually, the original six will be reorganized in Europe to tackle the growing threat of Hydra in Avengers: Age of Ultron. This movie should have been a great opportunity to explore the subtleties of Black Widow's dark and difficult history. Instead, her arc is undermined by exorbitantly misleading screenlighting. In terms of reestablishing Romanov's position in the Avengers' already disproportionate gender equation, The Age of Ultron looks overly judgmental at everything the character represents. The film does not give credibility to the important relationships she fostered between characters like Hawkeye and Captain America, but through inappropriate jokes about Romanov's supposed frivolous ways of doing these, weakens the complex dynamics. When Romanov's innate conflict reappears in the follow-up film, her characterization is once again highlighted. Unfortunately, she hasn't been given the luxury of screen time since Captain America: Civil War. The MCU is too crowded. At least, the Black Widow we encountered is on track. Her interest in self-preservation is irreparably related to the well-being of her teammates, as she slowly transforms into the character finally seen in the Endgame. At Civil War, Romanov shocked Captain America, the Falcon, and others by agreeing to sign the Sokovia Agreement, but allowed another potentially shadowy agency to closely monitor the activities of superheroes. But she has a clear and strict personal belief. As Romanov understands, keeping the Avengers together is a top priority in the constant global danger. Avengers: Infinity War and its sequel, Endgame, will also feature a two-part endowment. To be honest, Romanov rarely appears in the former, except for fighting some aliens. She has very few lines in the movie. Nonetheless, examining the mirrored images and juxtaposition of Infinity War and Endgame reveals that, albeit in a painful way, her character is going around completely. In the MCU timeline, Black Widow spends 5 years sticking to the relative friendliness of her old work to counteract her guilt and regret over the success of Thanos' plans. She admits Hawkeye's cruel vigilantism, but refuses to look for him until she has to represent her war of internal responsibility. But no doubt, the Black Widow grows absolutely in the process of Infinity Saga and changes for the better. She was a turbulent vehicle that not always produced the desired results. However, Romanov managed to find a pardon in the Crimson Ledger debt she paid. So that's all for today's video. Until then, feel free to say in the comments section below what you think about the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Evo Chronicles and hit that notification bell so you can always be notified by our regular updates.